Welcome to Storytime with Quefish. I just got a notification that Roomba of Doom was updated. So I thought that I might try to read it blind. I may regret that. You may regret listening to me regretting that. So, comfy. So, Chapter 2 of Roomba of Doom by GayDemonicDisaster. Chapter 2, Viewing Habits. Summary is just some light entertainment, here be onions. It's either layers or crying. Aziraphale walked into the empty flat. The television was on. It was showing an old episode of the cartoon Transformers. The angel knew Crowley wasn't home, as he'd texted him from the supermarket to ask what ingredients he should get for tonight. Odd. Maybe the demon had left it on when he went out and forgotten it. Aziraphale waved at the TV to turn it off and went to make a cup of tea. The TV turned on again. He spun around and glared at it suspiciously. Did Crowley's flat have a poltergeist that he hadn't told him about? He waved the TV off again. A click, and it came back on. There was an indignant beep from floor level in front of the sofa. Aziraphale stepped around the sofa and looked down. Bob was there, lights flashing the occasional red alert in addition to his usual calming blue. He radiated an aura of annoyance at the angel and beeped again. The volume turned up on the TV. Oh, terribly sorry, old chap. Didn't realize it was you. Carry on. The Roomba shimmied in such a way that made his googly eyes roll in exasperation. Did he learn the wiggle from Aziraphale? By way of apology, Aziraphale opened a cupboard and fished out a bag of popcorn. He opened it and scattered a few pieces on the floor in front of the Robovac, who considered him a moment grudgingly, then did a little half circle to devour the popcorn before returning to his previous position to continue watching the program. The red LED stopped blinking, and his lights phased in a contented blue glow. Aziraphale settled down on the sofa behind Bob with his tea and the popcorn to watch along with him. Every now and again, he'd drop another piece of popcorn down for the Roomba to enjoy. Which was how Crowley found them a little while later, sitting together watching Scrap Heap Challenge as Rob, I know it's Llewellyn, just a second. Sorry about that. So, Rob Llewellyn, even though I know that in Welsh the double L is like that sound, but I'd never be able to do it, directed the two teams pulling old vehicles apart to make some bizarre monster machine. Occasionally, the angel would drop a bit of popcorn on the floor, and the vacuum would consume it with a happy little beep. Crowley sighed. What did I tell you about spoiling him, Angel? Aziraphale looked up guiltily. Bob scooted under the sofa and hid. It was an accident, Aziraphale insisted. Crowley raised a cynical eyebrow at him and said nothing. This program doesn't seem like your cup of tea, Angel. Aziraphale shrugged. Bob picked it, not me. Every time I change the channel, he beeps and swaps it back. It seemed easier to just go with it, if I'm honest. He caught Crowley's expression and looked faintly embarrassed. I know, I'm soft. Wouldn't have you any other way, Angel, Crowley replied with a smile, bending forward to kiss the top of his head affectionately. Crowley then ambled through to the kitchen, started unpacking the shopping bags, and put the kettle on. Aziraphale changed the channel now that Bob had stopped watching. After a little while, Crowley whistled and Bob slunk out from under the sofa, trundling over to the kitchen area. A few minutes later, he trundled back, stopped by the sofa, and beeped at the angel. Aziraphale looked down to see the Roomba with a small tray on his back, carrying a cup of tea and a biscuit. He took them gratefully and dropped a biscuit crumb in front of the little vacuum. "Don't tell your dad," he whispered conspiratorially. "Thank you, darling," he called out, rather more loudly, toward Crowley's direction. They sat down for dinner later. Crowley had made toad in the hole with Lincolnshire sausages and onion gravy. Aziraphale nodded over to where Bob sat asleep on his charging port against the wall. "Doesn't he need emptying at some point?" "I was just thinking that." Crowley chewed on some Yorkshire pudding and shook his head. "Nah, I miracled him a pocket dimension of his very own. Anything he sucks up just gets diverted straight into the ether. I call it the pocket link dimension." The demon grinned and took another bite. Aziraphale rolled his eyes again. It was getting to be a bit of a theme whenever the Roomba was mentioned. They finished dinner, and Aziraphale stood and collected the plates. As he stepped backwards, Bob perked up and made a beep, beep, beep noise with a curiously amused expression somehow. The angel looked at him quizzically as Crowley burst into a fit of giggles. The angel looked back at the demon with brow furrowed in confusion. "What was that for?" Crowley snorted and giggled some more, then howled and tried to draw a breath, slamming his hand onto the table. "What?" demanded Aziraphale. "You're reversing like a truck. Bob is providing you with a warning beeper." Crowley giggled. The angel glared at Crowley and then at the Roomba. "You two are incorrigible." "Well, what do you expect? He's a demonic vacuum cleaner, Angel. He's my little minion dude. He's not supposed to be good." Crowley picked a bit of Yorkshire pudding from the edge of one of the plates Aziraphale held and tossed it toward Bob, who trundled forward an inch, sucked it up, and then returned to his charger again with a happy little beep. "I thought you said no spoiling him, dear," Aziraphale admonished. Crowley shrugged. "Demon," he reminded him with a smirk. "Besides, that was funny." They sat down together on the sofa after dinner to watch Bake Off. Crowley wasn't sure why the angel was so hooked on the program, as it was the demon who was the chef out of the two of them. Aziraphale could just about boil a kettle for tea and left the fancy stuff to Crowley. Apparently, he'd tried to learn to cook in the past, but every time he got exasperated, knives had a habit of flaring into celestial flame in his hands. So he'd given it up as a bad job. They sat and snuggled, the angel gently running his fingers through Crowley's shock of short red hair. His hands stilled, and he looked confused for a moment. Do you not peel an onion that way?" Crowley glanced at the bloke on the telly, awkwardly trying to peel an onion with a potato peeler, then stared up at Aziraphale aghast. "Angel, please promise me you won't try to help me cook, okay?" After Crowley had gone to bed, Aziraphale sat on the floor in the study with Bob as he spun around on the keyboard drawn there. "So, did Crowley do the beep once for yes, twice for no thing with you as well?" Bob beeped once, and to reaffirm spelled out Y-E-S in case he wasn't clear. "Well, that makes things somewhat easier while I'm getting to know you, dear. Tell me, what type of crumbs are your favorite then?" So, the frustrated angel and the knives bursting into flames is a callback to another story called Celestial Blade, which I believe I also read. Let's see. And someone did some fan art of Bob the Demonic Roomba. It was courtesy of Maradactyl on Discord. And look, he's so cute. So, that was chapter 2 of Roomba of Doom. See you next time. Bye.